The archaeological record isn't what some people think. There are those who believe that archaeology holds mysteries and secrets to a suppressed past. Could alternative archaeology be uncovering these curiosities? Or can science and archaeology explain the seemingly unexplainable? We've made it our mission to look into the claims of alternative archaeology and evaluate the evidence they present. We'll compare it to actual scientific archaeology and see which can give us a more realistic interpretation of the past. I'm professional archaeologist Sarah Head, and this is Forensic Cat Inspector Bragnir Thrandrel. We're going to put alternative archaeology under our lens and see how it holds up to reality. Archaeological Fantasies presents Curious Archaeology. In the middle of Pennsylvania, some claim there is a strange town, one influenced by ancient Egypt and the constellation Orion. Everything about the Borough of Olyphant, Pennsylvania seems to be tied to Egypt, according to some. From the outline of Olyphant itself looking like the Sphinx, to a large Giza-sized pyramid that supposedly looms on the skyline of the town. There's also a mysterious alignment of churches and one Jewish synagogue that makes Olyphant, Pennsylvania the center of the universe. With its own Orion Vortex, could Olyphant be a portal to another dimension, or a contact point with aliens? The Curious Archaeology crew decided they needed to investigate this and see if Forensic Inspector Bragnir could sense the Orion Vortex. We traveled all the way to Olyphant, Pennsylvania to look at these churches firsthand and to see if we could find traces of ancient Egypt in Pennsylvania. One of the first things we wanted to do when we got to Olyphant was take a first-hand look at all the churches. Inspector Bragnir led the way, mostly, as we located each of the churches and tried to find as much information as we could on the ground. St. Michael's Roman Catholic Church was founded in 1909. It's had extensive renovations due to the usual wear and tear on any old building such as this, and the current building was renovated in 1912. First Presbyterian Church was erected in 1899. It served the area of Olyphant until it closed several years ago, where it passed into private hands. The church is now being renovated as a private residence, and we were very lucky to get an inside tour. It's gorgeous in there. St. Patrick's Church was rededicated in 1911 after renovations due to damage. The church is currently open and also hosts the Holy Cross Parish at St. Patrick's Church. All Saints Orthodox Church was originally founded in 1902, but the building wasn't completely built until 1905. The church changed hands several times, and in 1970 finally became the Olyphant Congregation of All Saints Orthodox Church. Unfortunately, it had a devastating fire in 2006, but was able to be restored with hand-painted icons in the Russian and Greek Orthodox traditions. The St. Cyril and Methodius Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church was founded in 1870, but the current building wasn't constructed until 1908. It was once again devastated in fire and renovated in 1910 and then again in 1952. We were unable to locate St. Michael's Church School. There were several buildings that looked like good candidates, but it appears that the school has either been repurposed or removed. I'm not positive what impact this has on the Orion constellation that these churches supposedly make up, but surely missing one of the 6 major stars does alter things a bit. The final piece of the puzzle is a Jewish temple that is now defunct. The temple is private property now and apparently owned by the same people that run the Houdini Museum. Inspector Bragnir wanted to see if he could get a closer look and maybe feel something in the area. A vortex would give off a lot of energy after all. It seems Inspector Bragnir may have sensed something, but only the inspector will ever know. After visiting Olyphant, there were a few things that became fairly obvious to me. Firstly, the churches didn't make a perfect Orion, and like with Graham Hancock's Giza Pyramid Orion's belt theory, you almost have to flip the constellation to get it close to matching up with the buildings. Secondly, there's a distinct lack of anything Egyptian in the area. There is, however, plenty of Greek and Russian Orthodox and Catholic imagery. It's this lack of obvious imagery, I think, that leads to the idea that the boundaries of Olyphant make up a sphinx shape, and the somewhat confusing idea that the golden anchor at the center of town is a symbol of ancient astronauts. The last bit that really struck me was the dates of construction of the churches and the Jewish temple. Olyphant's first recorded census was in 1870. The Jewish temple was originally constructed in 1888, and the rest of the church buildings weren't in their current locations until the early 1900s or later. So how could the planning of the town have been guided by Egypt and the constellation Orion if the center was built first and the rest of the points took 10 or more years to be constructed? And what about the pyramid on the Olyphant skyline? There are mountains in the area and large hills. None look particularly pyramid-like to me, but I'm not in direct communication with the constellation Orion. So what's Inspector Bragnir's final opinion on the matter? The Borough of Olyphant is just that, the Borough of Olyphant. It's an extension of the city of Scranton, and is a nice place that has started to build itself back up after a downturn in the 1950s. Still, if the Jewish temple had been housing an alien vortex to the constellation Orion, there's really no way to get inside the building short of breaking the law. So I suppose there's always a chance that there are aliens in Olyphant.